What's up? What's up? Right before we started recording, I think it took exactly 2.5 minutes before Hakeem brought up race.
Before I brought up the calipers.
He is the whitest member of this podcast, which is a very difficult thing to achieve.
Absolutely not. This is slander, especially when I was awestruck when I saw JT, unironically, because I will let the audience know. Yeah, exactly. I will let the audience know the camera is incredibly flattering to JT's skin tone because he has like this reddish hue to him, which is very beautiful and quite sexy, if I might add. But when you see him in real life, he is a pale boy.
Pale as a ghost.
I love it. No, it's his year.
I sent a few photos. To my girlfriend when we were meeting up earlier this year, and she was like, Hakeem, exactly how I imagined him, fit, elegant, everything.
Beautiful.
And then for JT, she's like, he's handsome, but you said he's American. Is that motherfucker's English? like a member of some royal family. Indeed, I am about to have sex with my sister.
Yeah, I look like I came from a bog.
Oh my god.
Which would be a great plot twist because I genuinely we harp on all of these ethnic stereotypes and so on, and even Hakeem, when it's very quiet, he's like, I don't hate all French people, but I genuinely think JT, to our British listeners, JT actually hates you. Like he feels like true, like his blood starts boiling when you're in the room. He can smell smell your RNA.
Aluminium. Fuck you.
The Chinese emperor who's like unlimited genocide has JT on Anglos.
If I see one more goddamn Nando's.
Oh my god, I love
Nando slaps though. I do love Nando's.
You know what slaps though? Fucking nukes. What the fuck is happening with YouTube in the last 3 days? Content nuke. Fucking nuke my fucking dignity. Fucking what? We were mentioned a few times, which we will not mention why. Yeah, of course, dude. We're always in every
by the
fucking
one
soup,
that we expect. Okay.
Yeah. By the fucking Ozempic overdose ass looking Trotsky looking ass motherfucker.
One of the many Zionists, of course.
Yeah, motherfucker literally has rent-a-friends. Like he has 5 dudes in his fucking studio that are only there because they get paid. Dude, you know that once this whole situation started, they asked for a fucking raise because they're dude, if
I would,
everyone would, really. Like I signed up for funny guys smoke big vape, and now you're like fucking Palestinians, and they're like, okay, I double my raise for my soul, please.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's nice. Well, we know you're hate watching. Hi.
Make it
Put us in
my
your next
while.
reel.
I know I'm gonna stand at the Hague. Please. Oh my
god. Didn't Linus from Linus Tech Tips make a video saying I shouldn't have built this PC? I saw a picture of that. Is that real?
Wait, no, I'm not. I don't follow.
So apparently he built a PC for Hassan, right? And then I saw a screenshot somebody posted on Twitter with allegedly one of his videos that says I shouldn't have built this PC, talking about Hassan. Let me double check this real quick. Let me see if that's real.
Dude, there is not a single person that has not watched that fucking Hassan nuke that didn't literally after 20 minutes go this is the dumbest thing I've watched on this fucking platform in a very long time.
He's making Hassan look so based. My god. I didn't watch any of it because I have a real job. Not even unlike the person in question, I have a real job.
Not even Hassan watched it. He was basically dude, stick to your fucking shit. What the fuck are you doing? If you want to talk, fucking call me, which is the adequate adult in the room fucking response to the whole thing. It's really embarrassing and a little bit concerning, but because you can see that he's not on a very healthy role. Let's use that sort of terminology. Anyway. But the civil war is quite interesting because it's give me a civil war where it was one country versus all others. Well, this is what is happening right now, pretty much. Well, no. And Baden Pinada is on the greatest friend of the show, recent guest, is on the greatest grind set of all time because an hour and a half worth of the slop comes out. 1 day later, Baden Pinada video, 4 hours and a half. And
deranged.
That was
our beautiful
called,
man.
That was called something content nuke Hassan. And Baden Pinada Tsar bomb, Ethan.
That's so funny. I admire the dedication. That takes some derangement.
Yeah, of course.
That's our man.
He is our attack dog, and we salute our attack dog piece of shit left.
We're the hands behind the gang stalking. Click. Oh my god. Exactly right. Oh,
The craziest thing is like this has been lasting for a year now, and the most insane thing is that it literally started right fucking here. I still can't believe it, but it's like, why you put my mouth in your name? Like, what the fuck? And then, 1 year later, yeah.
In moving on to the real world and things that actually matter, right?
You're telling me that content nukes do not matter? Whatever.
Oh my god, I'm bugging. Whoa, he's fucking.
Look at this clip. In this clip, he said China good. That means he hates America.
That's like
Side note.
based.
Yeah, that's right. Side note before we move on to things that actually matter. I can't imagine anybody. Like in their 30s, he must be in his 30s, right? I don't know.
He's
surely he's 40.
Yeah, regardless. Yeah, and I'm just like, where the time that maybe you get so far moved when you've just been a quote unquote content creator, it's a stupid cringe term, for so long that you forget what it's like to be a real human being. And then nobody gives a shit. People are watching this because there's nothing else to watch when they're having their 20-minute lunch break. So they're gonna watch it in clips, and half the time they're not gonna even pay attention, right? Regardless, it seems very, very silly and sad that
doesn't he have at least one kid?
I have no idea.
Yes. I think absolutely. Yeah.
I've got a kid too. I got a daughter. I cannot motivate myself to do anything. I'm like, I just want to chill and hang out with my daughter and like play outside, do wholesome things, touch grass. Like I cannot fathom being
make
that
videos.
insane.
Why the U.S. is constantly at war and imperialism fucking sucks. Yeah, but,
I'm training my daughter not to drink water. She will survive.
Anyways, moving on. JT, you had something going on with much more important real world things, which include camera pricing, camera advances.
Oh, if you're gonna let me go on my little rant,
please.
Fine. Okay,
get on the little horsey outside outside the grocery store. I put a few coins in the meter. Go on.
So there's a new camera.
Like the little fucking
it's keys for me. It's like dangling keys. The camera. Ooh. Yeah. So. Blackmagic recently put out a new camera, or two new cameras technically.
Is that a rapper?
I just felt
I'm never gonna get through this.
When you said that immediately, I was like, the way you said that was so racially tinged.
Come on, I know, that's the name of the company.
I bit as well. I fucked up. I super racialized it, but you need to be proud of me. I undermined myself because the first thing I wanted to say is that a porn star?
Okay, you guys.
Come on.
These are my co-hosts, everyone. Yes. I'm going to try this one more time.
Yes.
The camera company based out of Australia, Blackmagic Design, recently unveiled two new cameras. Technically three new cameras, but there are two that I'm going to focus on. There's the Ursa Cine LF 12K and 17K. The 17K, crazy. Nobody needs that. But the 12K camera is actually a very capable camera. It can be used as an 8K camera as well as a 4K camera with no cropping of the sensor. This will matter to camera people. Everybody else has no idea what I'm talking about.
12K matter. Like 12,000 Serbian dinars, not fucking dollars, right?
So it's the price that it started at, the bundle price.
Oh, bundle! Oh boy, you're getting a deal.
So the bundle comes with the like a case for it, EVF, battery
magic,
plate,
white magic, Asian magic,
a bunch of stuff.
Does it come with a leash for them to walk you around as well?
All I'm trying to do is talk about cameras. You guys are being racist.
I'm sorry. Go on. Yes.
So $15,000. So it started at $15,000, right? Which is a lot of money, but considering the cameras that it's stacked up against, you're talking $30,000, $50,000, $70,000. So it's
a good deal in comparison.
$15K is a very good deal. Okay. And then Blackmagic the other day, just like, hey, we're gonna sell just the brain of this camera, the actual camera part, what people think of as the camera, without all the accessories, for less than 50% of that. We're gonna sell it for under $7,000, $6,995.
Wow.
And that's so I'm gonna buy one. I think I love cameras so much.
We know. We've
and
seen the wall.
we're setting up for some second
I can
thought
just
documentaries.
hear patrons like unsubscribing. Just
No, you need to do the
unsubscribe.
opposite of that, actually, because I want to buy the camera. Raise your pledge amount. No, I'm kidding. What I do is I have a camera fund that whenever I buy a camera, I start saving for the next one, and then I'll often like recycle my gear by selling it, and you get a good bit of it
when
back.
you're addicted
But
to cocaine,
pretty much, yeah.
take
You
a
have a
bag,
plan.
need a
You have a
bigger
plan
bag.
for the next score.
Yeah.
I thought it's in what's it called? You exchange it with your wife beating you for how much money you're wasting on these.
More or less. But yeah, for all the camera nerds out there, check out Ursa Cine LF, the 12K version. If you've got accessories already for previous Blackmagic cameras, you can get into this like a full frame 12K camera that does anamorphic D-squeeze in camera, has all
Ooh, I
sorts
wish
of
you
different...
de-squeeze me.
It's like 0.1% of our audience is jizzing so hard right now.
There you go.
Oh, I care so hard.
I'm so happy.
No, I'm happy
having
for you
you.
as well, dude. You
There
deserve
we
it. You
go.
deserve it. You know, your kid will not be able to afford clothes, but camera number 750.
I mean, come on. Hey,
Phenomenal.
close
Yeah.
camera. Hey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Deprogram. Before we begin, we would like to say thank you. Thank you very much, Ka. Thank you very much, Ka, to all our wonderful patrons, without whom none of this would be possible. If you would like to become a patron and support what we do here on the show, you can check out the link below. And for a measly sum that you worked very, very hard for, you can get plenty of benefits, such as up to 2 exclusive episodes a month, every single episode 1 week early, access to the Discord account, and even access to the 3 most boring individuals on the planet, me, Hakeem, and Hakeem. JT's actually
There we
fun.
go. Discord server, by the way, server, not our account. You can have access
I
to
know
the
you
Discord
can have my
server.
account as well. I have nothing to hide compared
is true.
to
He never
compared to
uses it.
some debate edgelords that share porn of people that do not give consent.
Okay, all right.
Indeed,
Let's go.
sorry,
Move
I
on.
have to put it
Moving on.
Okay, anyways, welcome to the longest running series of the Deprogram, the most original show to ever be created. Checking out the news and then like talking about it. It's incredibly original. It's fucking legendary. Okay, welcome to another episode of Send News. We have Trump, 3rd week as of recording, in office, and many a thing has happened. Let me start off with arguably the biggest news of the day. Netanyahu was the first foreign leader who was welcomed to the U.S. Capitol in what was framed as the meeting of the world's 2 greatest allies, both by Trump and Netanyahu. In the most shocking part of their get-together, Trump appeared to talk about Gaza as a ruined hellscape that became such as if it was bombed by aliens or hit by an earth-shattering meteor, sitting next to the very man who, together with his colonial apartheid regime, caused one of the world's best documented acts of genocide in real time. He, baffling almost everyone from the west to the east, went off on ideas of rebuilding it as an American colony of sorts, removing the entirety of the population, which, quote, couldn't live there anymore because it was all rubble, and calling for some sort of new project which will bring peace to the region. What looked like ramblings of many a meth head on the corner of a street was the president of the United States basically shocking even the, in my opinion, genocidal leadership of Israel with ideas they only had in their wettest of dreams. A systematic displacement of the entirety of the Gaza and Palestinian population, something they've been working at for decades now, being said in the open and as if it's a matter of moving a couple of pieces on a monopoly table. The craziest part is the wordplay, as if he is doing the Palestinian people a fucking favor or something. Like he's like, the region has become unlivable spontaneously, not as a direct consequence of a collaborative effort of both the United States and Israel. I'm sure Netanyahu went to the White House hoping that Trump will follow in the lapdog footsteps of Biden, and oh my God, did he get that and then some. Now, Is what he is saying executable? Depends. Let's have this as a sort of back and forth, boys. What do you think?
No. It's nonsense. He's talking shit. The plan, first of all, this is not the first time it's been said. Not even in like several. This idea has been floated through several U.S. administrations, but most recently it was floated under the Biden administration last year, on two or three occasions even. And every single time it came out with incredibly strong and direct condemnations and rejections by basically everybody, except for Israel, who was like, "Oh, we would love ethnic cleansing to be done by somebody else." But Egypt said, "No, fuck off. You're not doing that." Jordan, of course, is completely against it. Even the frenemy of the United States, Saudi Arabia, is like, absolutely not. We reject this deal outright. Let me just
even Trump's like a large piece of his following is like America first, right, bro? What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, the anti-Semites are like, daddy, Jews,
that is
daddy,
like,
Jews.
he somehow didn't like tick a pocket in like 80% of his voting body. You have the anti-Semites that are like Jewsry. You have the guys that are like, dude, I thought we were gonna do isolationism. What the fuck are you doing? There's just a subsect of like these hyper nationalists that like completely ignore Israel. They're like, dude, fuck yeah, colony. We're gonna have like a colony, bro. Let's fucking go. That's the only guys that I've seen anywhere go like good, except obviously for the mega cope people that are like genuinely need to be put in institutions because they saw this and they believe that aspect of Trump doing Palestinians a favor, like, oh, he's like gonna like rebuild stuff. That's awesome. Which those might be the weirdest ones out of the bunch, and that bunch includes anti-Semites.
Yeah, exactly right. But no, let me just walk through a few two important points at least, because you mentioned that we're gonna have our little we're gonna have a Riviera of the Middle East where we have a long-term ownership position of the U.S. Nobody in the White House or the official administration has come out and said that this would become like an overseas territory or something. But there's some people who are like tertiary figures who have said things along these lines. You need to realize that this is a logistical, financial, and diplomatic impossibility for the United States. The United States cannot project power like this anymore, right?
No, yeah.
And if they were to try to do anything of the sort, they're going to get bogged down in another quote-unquote forever war. And the difference is that unlike Israel, which has a dedicated, program of attempting to settle the Gaza Strip, it's part of their entire idea of as a nation, right? They're completely ideologically committed to it. The United States has and particularly the American public, has incredibly little appetite for more of this shit, right? They're gonna if American boots on the ground land in Gaza, there's gonna be after the first 14 dead American soldiers, right? Which would happen within the first week, maybe or less.
Yeah.
It would almost overnight the public opinion would sour and that's moving aside the fact that Egypt will not allow people to move into Gaza this way, and Israel is a bit kind of wary of this because the actual expelling can't be done. And this is coming to the second point, but go on, GT.
Dead American soldiers, like the point you brought up, is very important because that is harder to hide in U.S. media than dead IDF soldiers. Like we don't, there's no obligation to report dead IDF soldiers, so Israel continues to look strong. But when the dead soldiers are husbands of American women, fathers of American children, they're gonna put up a fight. They're gonna say, "Hey, why aren't you saying my husband died a hero?" All this stuff. There's no way you're going to hide those deaths, and it's going to fall apart very quickly.
Yeah, and more importantly, it's just that, as mentioned, the American public has no appetite for this.
No.
Right? And
even
also...
the soldiers who are going to be there, like, why the hell are we here? We're not defending...
Trump rode in on the isolationism thing, too, just like Hugo said. And people will be like, what the fuck? You're supposed to be pulling us out of Biden's wars, So this is not a good... He's talking shit like he's talked shit about Greenland and the Panama Canal and the Gulf of America nonsense, renaming the Gulf of Mexico.
That rocks.
Yeah.
Stupid. That happened, though. That did happen, though.
That's so funny.
And Google was like, yes, daddy, okay. But
Google does this with the names of all disputed. So in the region of a particular area, depends on which map you're on. It either says Persian Gulf or Arabian Gulf, this kind of stuff is just...
Serbs fucking freaking out Googling Kosovo right now. Like VPN from America. What the...
Exactly right, yeah.
But like
Serbs looking it up from their Berlin apartments.
Hey, you. But not like
war.
that on steroids. Like obviously, Trump's the type of government executive that pretty much runs the whole country based on how that's gonna kind of throw back on him, because you know his entire personality is based on being loved and liked and liked and loved and liked and loved. And this probably anybody with half a brain in his PR team is telling him that will not happen if you do actually go through with even half of a plan of what you're proposing. Basically, I'm saying you will not be loved. Therefore, even from the like subjective perspective of what Trump as an individual would like to see, it doesn't make sense as well.
He's also the type of guy, and we've seen this before in his first term. He's the type of guy who will speak loudly about the last thing he was told. Like whoever was in the room with him last is his best friend, and their ideas are the best. And so when he's talking to Netanyahu, obviously he's going to do Netanyahu stuff. It's like, yeah, this genocide was great. In fact, we're going to make it even bigger. We're going to do all of it. We're going to get it done. You know, it's just he hyperbolizes every little thing based on the last conversation he had. So yeah, he's a piece of shit, but he's also stupid and like an old 80s businessman. That's just what they do.
One point I need to specify, because maybe people don't realize the machinations of Israel. The reason that both Jordan and Egypt, but specifically Egypt, are so strongly against Palestinians, even temporarily moving into their countries, like a short-term displacement. There's never been a short-term displacement of Palestinians. Is going to be it's ethnic cleansing. But the reason that they're against it is because Israel has made it completely clear, like there's in no uncertain terms, that they want to occupy both Jordan and Egypt, particularly Sinai when it comes to Egypt, but all of Egypt. They don't give a fuck, right? They have telegraphed this on their speeches on the highest levels of government. IDF soldiers have patches showing that Sinai is part of Israel, so on and so forth. Exactly right, yeah. So they make it clear as day. Now, what would happen if Palestinians, particularly Palestinians in Gaza, are expelled from Gaza and move into the Sinai, right? Yep. They're going to set up tent cities and, like refugee camps like they have in Lebanon and everywhere else. And then afterwards, they're going to organize. And then afterwards, they're going to be attacking Israel from the Sinai, right? The next step will be Israel being like, hey, we expelled the Palestinians into the Sinai Peninsula, but now they're, a threat on our border. And Egypt isn't doing enough, no matter what Egypt would do. They'd be like, Egypt is not doing enough to quell the situation. So for our own security, for our state security, we need to go and take care of business. And in that case, then they would go and they would occupy the Sinai and use this as a pretext. This has been telegraphed since the 70s, at least. Moves along these lines. And Egypt knows this very clearly. There's now been this stupid show of force where there's been like a government okayed protest by the Rafah crossing, or like the Egyptian side of it. Yeah. There's been the moving of Egyptian tanks into the Sinai Peninsula. This is like posturing. But the point is to get that across that this is not happening. The Gazans are not coming here because we know what the next steps are. Yeah. And
they wouldn't even need, the resistance wouldn't even need to strike from there, right? Israel has shown that they do not need real justification.
It doesn't matter what actually happens on the ground. It just need one bomb to fall somewhere randomly, and
or not. They'll create a fucking false flag and do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the situation there. But my personal estimation of this is like the vast majority of Trump's shit talking. It's not good. It's occupies and preoccupies the media, which is what he does best. He just says outrageous shit that preoccupies the media. Because so far it's been 3 weeks and there's nothing really to show his presidency's barely begun. But it's going to be the same thing in a year or 2 or 3, right?
No, I hope so. I absolutely hope so. One thing that I do think is going to come out of this is it's kind of like an indirect statement that there will be no, let's call it, larger support. I'm talking materials. I'm talking resources for the rebuilding of Gaza that now needs to start. Especially with the North, which is basically very unfortunately, but just completely
it's leveled. Yeah.
Leveled. So by talking about the territory and how it's completely annihilated, it's kind of introducing into the American populace's mind exactly what it looks like. why it has happened. It has happened. We don't know what's happened. It just fucking happened. So don't expect us to potentially assist in alleviating some of the pain that we have caused through direct Israeli support. That's the only. I hope that's the only thing that comes out of this rhetoric, pretty much. And I've seen it voiced by multiple Palestinian journalists, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of the main take. And I hope it remains only to. I hope that doesn't happen either, but I hope it only remains on that. Also, this was like really good fucking PR for Netanyahu back home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
was
basically.
like, they're fucking probably loving this. Have you guys seen, that's kind of the second piece of news on my end, but it's related to this. That's why I'm not bouncing off of you guys. Guys, you feel very bad because you've caused this. Don't you know this? The American liberals are basically telling us that because we did not strongly advocate for Genocide Joe or Genocide Kamala,
you didn't support the
pretty
genocide
much
there,
started this whole thing. It's our fault that their thing they've started is maybe going to continue. Do you feel horrible? Do you feel very herder? I should have voted. Hamdallah.
Yes, of course. Kamala Harris was the correct choice. I supplicate myself at the feet of the DNC, who just a few days ago were very bravely engaging in resistance consumerism.
Tell me more about that, because I started and I swiped. I was like, I'm not engaging this.
There's
content, but swipe.
Some bullshit about Costco upsetting the Republicans, and so the Democrats are like, it upsets Republicans. We're going to support Costco by just going with a photo op shopping spree at Costco with elected Democratic officials.
That is the most
what the hell?
American thing of all
That's what you guys are doing. That's what's important right now. Getting a $1.50 hot dog, which is a great deal. But come on, guys.
The anti-racism hot dog.
Yeah, I mean, we always knew that the Democrats and the liberals were going to do this. They blame the left no matter what, regardless of their own failures, their own complicity, and
anybody. No, you're completely right. And sorry to cut you off, but I just want to say, anybody who says this, you just realize these people have such few straws to grasp at, because the reality of the situation is that Trump is just doing any attempt to continue expelling, or any attempt to expel the Palestinians out of Palestine from Gaza or wherever else, would be a direct continuation of Biden's policies. Biden tried, come hell or high water, as the Americans say, to expel the Palestinians, but failed at several turns. But he tried so fucking hard. Right? Yeah. Same thing Trump might try as well, but this is not number one. And number two, and he was like, oh, but see, this is what you voted for. There are most likely 200,000 people who have died as a result of this this genocide, essentially, under Biden. And the entirety of Gaza is fucking rubble. The scars and trauma of this event will reverberate through the fucking generations and through time, right? And then soon this will be in the history books known to be one of the greatest catastrophes of human history that the entire quote unquote enlightened liberal Western world supported with full might and diplomatic cover and economic support and weapons and so on and so forth to show them for the facade that they are, and then they're in the bullshit that they talk about democracy and human rights and whatnot. But Gaza has already been destroyed. There's nothing that Trump can do. Literally nothing. Even if you were to drop a nuke on the fire, there's nothing that you could do to make it worse than it already is, right? And anything that would account to expelling the Palestinians, which by the way is just talk, right? Unlike what Biden did, which is go and try to bribe Egypt and Jordan with tens of billions of dollars, essentially, to get them to take them. Any attempt is just a continuation of what Israel has been doing since the 40s, right? Or even earlier, actually. Yeah. Right, so it's a silly point to just be like, but now and this, and because this particular election was lost, you're a fucking idiot. Is my point.
Yeah. I mean, I think the left, the proper left in America, the United States, finally is like, no, No,
Yeah, fuck you.
we're not going to justify. Like, we don't feel the need to defend ourselves anymore. Fuck you guys. You're on the same team. Like, this is your thing. Own it. So, which is correct, which is good. That is the response you need to have. Like, the DNC needs to die. It needs to go away.
They're seeing them as the animals that they are. I mean, these people are utilizing a massive catastrophe, a human-caused catastrophe, American and Israeli-caused catastrophe as a simple political gotcha against, as a coping mechanism, not even a gotcha, as a coping mechanism to why they experienced one of the greatest electoral losses in American history. Like, if there is something that shows that you have not even an ounce of humanity left in you, it's just that utilizing mass suffering as a fucking Twitter post, my dude. Like, what the fuck? And you're supposed to be better than the other dudes?
Yeah,
That's what I'm supposed to think.
Yeah. No, that cat's out of the bag. No one's ever going to think that again, or no one can, in good faith, claim that. Like, they'll still try.
Gentlemen, your topic, please.
Sure. Let's we'll continue with Donald Trump's very successful first few weeks in office, shall we? Let's talk about the Canada and Mexico tariffs here. Yeah, we love tariffs.
Mexican patriots unite. I'm obviously a Mexican patriot. Hakeem over here is a Canadian patriot. In between is an American insurrectionist fighter uniting for the great North American continent against the Trumpian dictatorship that apparently changes everything, and everything is not how it was yesterday. Trust me, promise me, I promise you, trust me.
So yeah, Trump, he's talked a big game about his tariffs, like he does with everything. But he has struck a deal to postpone for 1 month. Now, the proposed tariffs slap a 25% tax on all Mexican imports, on most Canadian ones, and then a separate 10% tax on energy products, all of which experts and non-morons in general have said would obviously just blow up the entire North American economy, which would suck. Like, buying stuff, going to the grocery store, that would be bad. But also, objectively, I think would be very funny.
I mean, you would have a $15,000 camera to record the suffering.
Yeah, I mean, like I would pay 3 times as
Even
much for eggs
at that.
for the content.
Oh God.
But yeah, so the leaders of the 3 countries, they held a few meetings. They put out some strongly worded statements and stuff like, "Oh, Canada's not for sale. Canada is, whatever." But then everything just kind of settled down on its own when Trump agreed to a 1-month pause after winning some, quote, enormous concessions. He's very proud of himself. That's his thing.
Huge.
So would you like to know what some of these concessions are? So everything he won, quote, won, was pretty much already in place. Canada had already pledged support for border security. They had already pledged like $1.3 billion, I think, to shore up their border. And then they gave the U.S. some dude whose official title now is fentanyl czar, which sounds way cooler than it actually is. Like, I want to go see the fentanyl czar, but no, he doesn't do. No, he does the opposite of what you think. But so they gave the dude the title fentanyl czar, and then they agreed to list drug cartels as a terrorist organization. So like a useless title and a written acknowledgement.
They were literally like, "Yo, you need to spend billions on the border." We already are, but don't tell them. Yeah, billions on the border, absolutely. You need to make narco cartels terrorist organizations. Yo, Mike, do we have narco cartels? We don't. Okay, they're terrorists, I guess. And a fentanyl czar. Yo, who wants to be a fentanyl czar? Misha over there. Misha is fentanyl czar. We good. Okay, ciao.
love Canadian shit. Misha. Yes.
Yeah. That was racist. Okay.
It was not. I love Mishas. All Mishas. You're all my favorite. But anyway, so no policy really is changing here. Same with Mexico. Mexico's President Sheinbaum agreed to station 10,000 troops along the U.S. border, nominally to help stem the flow of immigration. This isn't really a change. These troops are already deployed around there. They're just being like shifted a bit to appear more focused on the U.S.-Mexico border. But what would be extra funny, they got all these troops along the U.S. border with permission and demand from the United States. What if they're just like, we could take Texas right now. Like, what if they just did? They launch an insurrection from the border with their tens of thousands of troops, reclaim Texas from Mexico. I think that's the move. I think that President Scheinbaum, if you need a local informant, hit me up. I got contacts in Texas. Unfortunately, I'm no longer
hit
there.
Up by ICE tomorrow. Holy shit,
Yeah, I'm kidding. This is a joke. I'm not encouraging Mexico to invade with tens of thousands of troops.
He is encouraging him to invade with hundreds of thousands of
Hakeem is. Yeah, go find Hakeem.
Hence why he is a levitating head.
Yeah. Anyway.
Smart.
Because I am not only encouraging it, I am on the front lines.
He's there right now. They can't tell him apart. He's also brown.
Imagine if they actually accidentally shoot each other, like the border cops from each side, and then eventually they have to figure out a system because of all of the border skirmishes, and they're like, "Yo, have you seen the shit that happens between China and India?" For those who don't know,
sticks.
Literally like medieval shit, like sticks and shields, so nobody dies, but they can beat the shit out of each other. Dude, as a non-Mexican and non-American, I would fuck the UFC, dude. I'm paying primetime money for that.
Yeah.
I want the Mexico-U.S. border to look like, you know, the Central Asian republics where like there's enclaves within enclaves. That's what I want it to look like.
Yeah, we've got solutions here, President Scheinbaum and President Trump. Please use the Deprogram as your intermediaries.
Yes. Exactly. We charge a very, very
low fee.
Modest fee compared to your other advisors.
No kidding.
Give us the Heritage Foundation's entire funding. All right.
That ain't no low fee.
Holy fuck.
Oh my God.
Buy me a camera, specifically the Blackmagic Ursa Cine 12K.
Oh my God.
Anyway, Trump is claiming victory, as always. And while even the staunchest capitalist market goons are like, that was pointless. That was dumb. And so one expert said the sanction threats were, quote, purposefully vague so that he can declare victory regardless of outcome. There isn't any grand strategy or rational explanation for what he's doing. It's chaos for the sake of chaos, which is a strong statement from someone who would normally be aligned with Trump and his escapades. But basically what we're seeing here, these things were already in the works. Trump is just unnecessarily burning bridges with the few remaining goodwill trade partners that the United States has. So all in all, doofus behavior, in my professional opinion.
I think I can move on to a little bit more tariff talk, but this time it's the response of tariffs.
Ooh.
And that is the Chinese response. China will do what it's always done, which is just kind of do nothing and keep winning. But basically, if for the people who are not in the loop, basically, Trump's entire economic plan has been, or the concepts of the plan that he's been talking about.
What fucking plan, bro? That's what I want to say.
Exactly right. But the thing that he keeps bullshitting about on the campaign trail, and now that he's president, is the tariff question, and particularly tariffs against China. And they're fairly broad and not exactly targeted right. JT already spoke about the immeasurable damage that this will do to the American economy. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about what the Chinese are doing. They have been warning and discussing and trying to kind of meet in the middle with the Americans and telling them that, hey, you should enter negotiations because otherwise we're just going to have to put down our own tariffs. And this is not going to be good for you, especially because the Chinese economy is far more decoupled from the United States than the American economy is from the Chinese. And how are they going to do this? They're going to set up a couple of tariffs, but very strategically. They're going to harass some American enterprises by being like, oh, you're an unreliable entity. Get the same shit that the United States does, just a little tit for tat kind of thing.
Sisu.
Yeah, exactly right.
Chest for chest. It doesn't work in Arabic. Apparently in Arabic, boob, like male and female boob is just boob. It's just chest. That's fucking fascinating.
And look, you know what? We're what's it called? Equality is the name of the game. I don't know what to tell you.
Enlightened.
Yes. What I was gonna say is right now the tariffs haven't come into effect from the Chinese side, but they're gonna be if negotiations just kind of fall through, which they're planned apparently. But let's specify specifically what will happen here. The number one thing that was mentioned was coal, oil, gas, and so on and so forth. So it's 10% would be on LNG, so liquefied natural gas, 15% on crude oil. That's the
It's not the nice oil. It's the oil that is like, fuck are you, motherfucker.
Exactly, right, which is on
fuck
the American
me,
side.
fuck are you. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's on the American side, and the Chinese would kind of respond with their own thing, which is not like the biggest deal because China doesn't import that much. But the Chinese market is very huge. That's what you need to realize. So even if their imports are like 1% or something, that 1% spreads very far. Because of the general population, sheer industrial base of the Chinese. Yeah, well, I know to tell you. When it comes to what's it called, agricultural machinery, pickup trucks, certain larger cars and whatnot, the Chinese have put on a 10% tariff as well, which will kind of again. The situation in the United States for agricultural machinery and export is not very good. It mostly serves the American market at this rate. Likewise, vehicles have very difficult time entering the Chinese market now because of China's own vehicle production. Pickup trucks is another big thing.
And they don't need American-sized vehicles in China.
Yeah, exactly right. This is the biggest thing, though, and it's export controls of certain rare metals. China is very lucky in its strategic position, geographic position, because it has a lot of what would be considered strategic minerals, rare earth metals, whatever else you may want to call them. But the United States and a lot of Europe does not have these, at least not in the necessary amounts. Some of these rare earth metals include components for electrical products, for military equipment, which is very important, for semiconductors and whatnot. And the thing is that China has, in some of these strategic minerals, 90% of output, 80%, 60%, or near monopoly is like 40%, which is a significant, like overwhelming measures. And the United States and Europe, number one, do not have the current reserves required, and number two, when they do the prospecting and the evaluations and whatnot, they find this and that deposit that could be used. But in Europe and the United States, it takes so long to get permits, to get things developed, and then to get it into market, that by the time it's all prepped, it no longer matters really. The world has already moved on by 10, 15, 20 years. Interestingly, the reason that the United States want to put tariffs on the Chinese economy was because the deficit to China is huge. Before COVID, it was something like 361 billion today, right? And it used to be, I believe, 160 billion, something like this.
Oh wow!
So the attempted shift that would happen because of tariffs ended up going the other way because of COVID. As a result, now
Nice.
the Chinese just keep winning. That's what I have to tell you. The Chinese just keep winning. The long-term effects of this basically mean that the United States economy will suffer more than the Chinese economy will, although both economies will suffer as a result of this stupid tariff war. But the ability to absorb the impacts of these tariffs is much larger for the Chinese side than the American side. And the more time progresses, the larger the capacity for China to absorb is, and the smaller the capacity for the United States economy is. So this is kind of like a declining empire clawing at whatever it can, which would, if they would put all this energy towards diplomacy and, like what the Chinese do, win-win, co-development and whatnot. But I remember I was listening to somebody talk, I think it was Michael Hudson, who's an okay guy to listen to. He has some strange trot beliefs, but otherwise, he mentioned, I had to note because somebody will say it, but he mentioned it was like in the Trumpian mindset,
MLs
right?
in the walls also exist. Yep.
Exactly right, that I'm one of them. But yeah, in the Trumpian mindset, when you say like win-win, a cooperation or win-win deals type things, it's not one side has to be the overwhelming winner, the other side has to be the sore loser, so that you can maximize the the Trumpian mindset. I don't like this kind of, I don't know, psychoanalyzing, zero-sum type stuff. Exactly right. But it is, the United States has kind of almost always acted that way.
Yes.
In that, like, we don't only want to come out on top, we want to maximize misery for
we want
everybody
everyone else to lose forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what the tariffs are looking like.
The States is like the same way white people are in the States. Not all of them, of course. But the great fear of one day becoming a minority only exists because you think they will treat you the way you treat them, which would not be a problem if you did not fucking mistreat them. So the United States' greatest fear, now I'm doing exactly what Hakeem said, is very often cringe, and I agree, psychoanalyzing a fucking country as if that's how it works. But to an extent, it's kind of an aspect of probably at least the executive body's mentality, because they see what they're doing. Let's be honest, and the mentality is if we ever actually become equalized with another state or become number 2, God forbid, or number 3 or number 4, then they might treat us the way we treat other state actors, which says more about them than those other state actors. It's very simple. But let's continue with America. Trump, back to my boy. Despite his campaign promises to launch the largest deportation program in American history. Sorry, I had to say that in a posh accent because deportation is very posh, apparently. His administration's efforts have not yet matched the rhetoric in a very Trumpian way. While the White House has aggressively publicized ISIS actions through social media, TV appearances, and high-profile raids, the actual number of daily arrests remains similar to levels seen under President Barack Obama. This is at the time of recording, of course. I don't know if you've seen like the type of fucking videos, like the border czar like shows up at a random arresting of some guy that's accused of, I don't know, sleeping with minors and shit, like a fucking pedo or whatever, and they're like, look at the type of people we're arresting. The guy is just standing there like, what do you have to say about this? It's like even the border czar is content maxing, which is not a plot twist that I expected. But yes, similar levels for the first 3 weeks of immigrant arrests as seen under Obama. Many of those detained lack violent criminal histories, and thousands have been released due to, of course, insufficient detention capacity. This is why some people think the Trump administration, just in its first 3 weeks, is talking about opening concentration camps, and their favorite primetime concentration camp location, the sunny shores of Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo is known for detaining Haitian refugees in the 90s, post 9/11 terrorism suspects, and for the gruesome torture that happened there and probably still happens there to this day. But now it's seen as the administration's kind of like, I don't know, solution to the complicated process of potentially kicking out over 11 million people from the country. Oh, turns out it's not that easy, is it? His idea of imprisoning up to 30,000 people there has been rightfully called totally fucking insane. I don't think I need to say why. If there's a listener that needs me to say why it's insane to imprison 30,000 people in a torture camp, please stop listening and but yeah, to actually censor that, yes. Censor the whole thing. Sure. But yes, the administration's media campaign aims to signal kind of like progress to Trump's base and create the perception that deportations specifically target criminals. Critics argue that publicity stunts such as sharing mugshots, epic like cop show videos, and misleading data is showing the continuation of classic Trumpian publicity games. This, of course, does not mean, unfortunately, that these so-called rookie numbers won't go up and that we might not see the full militarization of the expulsion process, especially if he doesn't manage to deliver on anything else. He might hyperfixate on this. Only time will tell. Just, I don't know. Guys, stay fucking safe, please.
My favorite part of this is like, the Democrats could be focusing on like how bad he is, but instead they're like, this guy sucks at deporting people. He can't even match our numbers. Like, what is wrong with you? These are the adults in the room. It's at least I think a lot of people are rightly saying, well, that's it. America's cooked. And just in general, like the last two presidents have accelerated the decline so expeditiously. But at least it's
like
funny.
A snake eating its own ass. They are the consequence of the decline. That's the type of leadership you get, which then declines it even faster. It's this like
self-perpetuating cycle.
Exactly. This quasi, my girlfriend told it to me, this quasi political science terminology, intensifying normalization, I think it's called. And it's when you feel like when you feel that shit isn't just right, but your state is constantly, no, everything is okay, everything is going okay, but you can tell that like the snowball is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and shit is about to fucking go down all around you. That is kind of what is in the air.
The vibe has shifted, to put it in
It's
the
not
young.
being checked.
Vibes are weird. Everyone's trying to one up each other on how fascist.
It's
they
Adam
can
Curtis thing. I was just quoting what my girlfriend told me. I have no idea.
Cool. I need to watch that. That looks pretty cool. So yeah, everything's great. I love it.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Let's go back to a better place that stays winning, and that is China. In big China news, they have done another technological marvel.
But at what cost?
Exactly.
Of course, yes.
At what cost? The cost of actually a lower cost than what the United States is doing. Worse. Let me explain. China has created ethylene and oxygen in space, a critical step in producing rocket fuel in orbit. So over the last month, taikonauts, that's the Chinese astronaut, on the Shenzhou 19 mission successfully produced ethylene, which is a key component in rocket fuel, as well as oxygen using artificial photosynthesis, which sounds really sci-fi, and it kind of is. This is the first time the process has been demonstrated in orbit, which is a big deal. For the nerds, the procedure mimics natural photosynthesis by using both physical and chemical techniques. On the Tiangong space station, taikonauts employed semiconductor catalysts to trigger a photochemical reaction.
Holy shit, the amount of weed you can grow with that shit. Holy fuck. Holy fuck.
Thank you for putting it into layman's terms, Yuko. I ain't no chemist. I don't know what this means.
Fucking, it's fake photosynthesis. You can just do it anywhere without light, right? Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm probably misinterpreting the whole fucking thing.
I don't know.
Oh my god, what am I doing?
Growers in the comments, let Yugo know if he's onto something here. we could link up with the Chinese taikonauts and see if we could get a weed
Fanta
operation.
can make with this. I don't know how Fanta's
off
even
Earth.
made.
So this is a different and more advanced process than the ISS's electrolysis process, which converts solar energy into breathable air. Experts believe that electrolysis will be too expensive and therefore not feasible for deep space travel. But since China's method can take place at room temperature and standard atmospheric pressure, it's poised to be a major breakthrough in space travel. It is cost-effective, low-energy production of the components of rocket fuel. So that's pretty cool. I'm a sci-fi nerd. I don't know like real-life sci-fi, how that stuff works. Good for you guys for making rocket fuel in space. All I know is that we'll cut down on the requirements for refueling operations, which could allow us to extend our reach into the stars, a la Star Trek.
That's
so
awesome.
That's really cool.
That's awesome.
And
That's our destiny.
Tabs on that. That'll be sweet.
I'm really on that hill. Yes, it is. That's fucking sick.
Hello. My thing keeps cutting out for some reason. This one I'll make a bit quick because it's a little cringe. You guys know about the current government of El Salvador, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Nayib Bukele, who's he's young and like tech savvy, so he's crafted this image of like tough on crime and like Instagram fucking ads and then memes. It's just stupid shit like this. So he's very like the propaganda game of this dude has been pretty good, and as a result, people even from around the world would see like, he's cleaning up the streets of all the filth, and then all of a sudden he's such a cool dude, right?
Yeah.
But he is doing the most cucked of cucked things, like even more than like African warlords and the traitors that pass for the leadership of many Arab countries. And what he has offered is to take deported people who go to the United States, who are like illegal immigrants, and to absorb them into Salvadorian jails. Not only this, but violent criminals. Yes. But not only this, but violent criminals who are American citizens.
Turning themselves into a penal colony.
Yeah, to be sent from the United States and deported, and maybe
That's so funny.
And even denaturalized in the process, right? So they would have their citizenship revoked and then be sent just to rot in a Salvadorian jail.
Whoa,
This is like, what's it called?
Hello, Mr. Trump. Can I house your criminals for my gulags, please?
Like Operation Operation Condor stuff was less
Yeah.
less cucked. Generally, that's the only word I can think of it. And he's like, "Oh, we do this for a fee, and we only want convicted criminals because the United States has been great at making sure convictions are
What a country business for country prison business.
literally that's what it is." And if you're not aware, by the way, do you
I am
wanna know-
off facing Sojak right now so hard.
Yeah. Do you want to know who this Bukele guy spoke to regarding this?
Please.
Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is the guy who's like, oh my god,
Little
what a great
Marco.
deal. Exactly right. I know he's not Meatball Ron, but he should be because he has those
Yeah.
vibes. Now let me mention specifically. He said,
He does, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you, but he does also know that a lot of like El Salvadorian citizens are going to be some of
He
these
doesn't give a
people
fuck.
that are being beat the shit out of and deported, even if they haven't done anything illegal in the
yeah,
States.
he doesn't give a fuck.
A little thing known as fucking sovereignty. Don't these fucking nationalists masturbate to this all the time?
Of course. And he's sitting. Look.
I'm
Rubio
sure. Like,
says-
I'm not fucking lying. This fucking got me weirded out.
Yeah.
How the fuck?
It doesn't.
What kind
It
of a
gets
story?
worse. It gets worse. Please.
good.
Be a little bit patient. It gets worse. Marco Rubio said that the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, agreed to the most unprecedented, extraordinary migratory agreement anywhere in the world. So this ghoul is so excited about this. You know how that's fucking bad. The jail that they're gonna be taking people into is continuously referred to as a mega jail. And I'm going to talk about it in a bit. The image that they decide to use to depict the conversations between Marco Rubio and the president of El Salvador is one where the president of El Salvador is sitting or standing, by his picturesque lakeside residence, which is overlooking these beautiful mountains and water and the sun while he's wearing his sunglasses. This looks like a 1970s Latin American dictator.
Hell yeah.
Like those vibes.
Or like Schindler's List, you know, the fucking Gestapo guy that stands in his villa right above the concentration camp and like has sex and drinks wine and sometimes shoots a person. Like that's the fucking vibes. I just saw the photo. Holy shit, dude.
Now, the mega jail that they're referring to is one known as Secot or Kesot. I don't know how exactly it's pronounced, but it's apparently short for Terrorism Confinement Center. All right, and this has been kind of the approach of his government towards crime and particularly punishment. This is a maximum security prison. It is the largest in Latin America. It was opened in January of 2023 and can house 40,000 inmates. 40,000 people, right? We're talking concentration camp. Now, that's not to say that the people in this particular thing are innocent. Define what innocent is. Define the inherent criminality of even the prison system. A lot of these people may have been just very
criminality
like,
is
asterisk.
Like, you know what I'm trying to say. Some of these people could be like horrific gang criminals that have killed
we're
people.
not saying that El Salvador didn't have massive gang violence problems. It did, etc.
But the approach, like this is one side of an approach, but the other side of the approach is missing. Like this massive community outreach and education, employment opportunities, so on. So this aspect, the reason, like when you live in a country where there's like 40% unemployment, are you surprised when people have to resort to fucking crime? But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Inmates in this prison are confined to windowless cells. They sleep on bare metal bunks. They're monitored by armed guards constantly, and they even have like an overview thing where there's a lattice ceiling that the armed guards can monitor prisoners down from. So it's just completely open for view.
Jeez.
The only time that this prison is even open to journalists is when they make these hyper curated media shows for to show people like the absolute best case. But even in one of those, a BBC journalist mentioned that the cell temperature, like the temperatures inside the cells, would reach 35 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
Inside. Yeah, which is, I don't know what that is, like 90, 35 C
35
to F.
Got to be close to 100.
95 degrees Fahrenheit. So pretty warm, I would say. Especially if it's like
that's hot.
Yeah, like day around the clock, then shit, that's horrible. But anyways, the official amount of inmates per cell isn't exactly specified. The investigations that some human rights groups have done say that it's between 80 and 150 inmates per cell.
How big are the cells?
They're packed like sardines, these people.
Wow.
And when one journalist asked what the maximum possible capacity was, the prison director said, where you can fit 10 people, you can fit 20. Right, so they're just packing them like however else. They're locked up 24 hours a day in their cells. They get 30 minutes of group exercise in a windowless corridor, so they don't get to see the sun
Good
or the sky or anything, right? And of course, there's armed guards everywhere. It's a maximum security prison, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
And this is what this particular dumbass is trying to get, like, even American citizens. This is what and they specify, even Trump commented on this, and he was like, I don't even know if it's possible to do this, but if it is possible, I'd sign it in a heartbeat. You're talking about sending your own citizens to another sovereign nation,
exile,
where they're going to be basically in some fucking prison under God knows what conditions, where they won't be able to appeal their sentences because who the fuck
accountability
are they, with a language they most likely don't speak, right? As well, so on and so forth. It's absolutely ridiculous that this is the case, but this is what's happening. And of course, they keep specifying that, but this is for a fee, and we'll only take the convicted criminals. Very, very stupid. But this shit where you pack people, you should see the images that come out of this fucking place. Literally, like. What you think, if you cared about your nation, that you would do it a bit differently. I'm not that involved with the El Salvador system. I would need to look into it a lot more deeply. But that is the current setup of what's happening. So hey, don't commit crimes in the United States, or you may be fucking deported.
Shipped
to El Salvador.
across thousands of miles.
Exactly.
At some point, it just becomes torture.
And of course, sorry, one last point. For people to think, but like this is against, like, we're trying to clamp down on gang activity. Yeah, that's one thing, but the amount of arrests that have been made, like this year alone or something, was like 66,000 people in El Salvador. Like a ridiculous amount of people for arrests for like gang related activity. I mean, especially for a relatively small country. But what's more important than this is that the threshold for suspicion of gang activity is incredibly low. So you have a whole bunch of people who are basically either just petty criminals not associated with gangs, or completely innocent people that just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, who end up being thrown in these maximum security prisons, right? With no oversight, no ability to appeal, no, this is a fucking kangaroo court shit. Right, yeah. It's not a intelligent way of running a system, but I guess that's for the El Salvadorian people to decide, or Salvadorian people. I don't know what the correct demonym is.
And tinfoil hat moment, or whatever you want to call it, but long-term planning penal colonies outside of your country. Holy shit, that shit smells, brother.
Yeah, it's grim, regardless of the intent.
Yeah,
but I guess speaking of...
And we followed story after story. Let's use Guantanamo for at least 30,000 migrant prisoners in transit. And now conversations about using El Salvador for more permanent imprisoning. He's turning it into like the main business of the country. It is holy fucking shit. It's a little penal colony.
Yeah.
Sorry, please.
No, it's dark. It's gross. That's the nastiness inherent to the system for sure. But I guess we're continuing with the panopticon here. Grocery chain Kroger has partnered with Microsoft to install facial recognition technology at their stores.
In a fucking grocery store.
In a grocery store.
Please elaborate.
Sure. So this understandably has shoppers in an uproar, as experts in the field have confirmed that this technology could be used to identify customers and modify prices in real time. So, for example, charging people more if they're from a more expensive part of town, or based on past shopping habits. Like, oh, you spent $200 here yesterday, or, last week or whatever, but today you've only spent, $46. Are you sure you don't need these things? That sort of stuff.
Habibi, it's going to be a woman coming in and who they have through their all-seeing eye. They know that she has children or something. Be like, she's going to the diapers. Immediately jack up the price to do fucking $46 a pack.
That is what people are thinking is going to be the case. Yeah. Like basically, if the AI thought the store could get away with it, they would raise prices for customers wherever it could. Now, Kroger denies that it will use tech this way. It claims instead that it's simply going to send digital coupons based on past purchases and current sales, and to, quote, reduce theft, as well as build a shopper profile based on your demographics and purchase history.
Okay, so it's not like paying with your face shit, or paying with your finger.
No, that would be too convenient. It's just creating a little AI input of you and saying, this person needs this item, or this person is willing to pay this much because we've tested it over the last 6 months. We've raised it 15 cents every time they come, and they keep paying it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so
as a past marketer, oh my god, the amount of shit you can do with this. Fuck.
That's huge. I mean, it's very worrying stuff. This could be the testing ground for a wider rollout of this sort of thing. Several U.S. House representatives have expressed concern over the partnership, and Kroger customers have. They haven't cracked down on it or anything, but they've sent some strongly worded letters.
Heavily.
Someone should do something about this kind of thing.
Exactly.
And Kroger customers also have made their feelings clear, saying they'll never shop there again, which is the correct approach.
They can go to Costco now.
I was gonna say,
Exactly.
no, like I don't, not to be like that guy, but I don't think I would go out of my way. I already have this as a personal like thing. If I see an ad for anything, like if they paid money to put an ad in my face for something, I will go out of my way to not purchase this product. And I will go out of my way, if I need the product, to find a competitor that I haven't heard of and buy their product instead. I fucking hate ads.
Never in my life have I set foot in an O'Reilly because of that goddamn jingle. I will never do it.
Exactly right. But if this next step where there'd be a store and they have cameras then profiling me, I would go out of my fucking way. I would drive 20 minutes in the other direction to not go to this bullshit fucking store. Right?
I agree. I totally agree. That Kroger's out for me. But it's Kroger has gone on like an apology tour, as the corporations usually do. It's like we hear you, we hear your concerns. Privacy is of the utmost importance to us, while of course
not doing anything about
not backing out of the partnership. They're still 100% going to do it. So empty words as always from the mega corporation. So it's looking great for shoppers. You thought egg prices were bad before. Just wait till it thinks you can pay 7 cents more per visit. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We hope you've had a wonderful time with us this morning, afternoon, evening, break.
Probably didn't
lunch.
with all the fucking news.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. At least it's kind of funny, right? Laugh through it, smile through it, grin and bear it, all that stuff. Don't get arrested. Try not to get deported. There are some penal colonies out there now, so be careful. Look out for each other.
If you do get sent somewhere, try to go to Guantanamo Bay and break out, because then you'll at least be in Cuba, in sovereign and free Cuba.
There's an idea.
My God.
Look out for each other with the ICE stuff going on. If you are white, use your shield here, your white privilege. As much as the term sucks, you can get in their face and say, "Hey, what's going on here?" You don't, and tell the people that they are harassing. You don't need to answer their questions. Hand them the card. You can print out the cards that shows them their rights. They're available in all sorts of languages. Just carry a few with you. You can really do some good there, preventing arrests and deportations. Every little bit helps. No harm in carrying a couple in your pocket. But with all that being said, we'd like to thank again our lovely patrons, without whom we could not do this show. We are completely ad-free, always will be, and that is thanks to you. So whether you're at the lowest tier or the highest tier, we love you all the same. Many little gentle kisses on your soft little ears. And with all that being said, this has been the Deprogram. I'm JT.
I'm Hakeem.
And I'm Ugopnik. Nuke!
Content nuke incoming. Deprogram canceled.
Dick, 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 dick.